Hi everyone, welcome to 200 Women Changing at the Speed of Love, Sweden. We're here with Marie Almanfor today. Hi Marie.
Hi Jane.
How you doing? And so you came to our event in London in October. And
yes.
As a result of that, you're now going to be the Sweden coordinator for 200 Women Changing at the Speed of Love.
Yes, I am. And I was talking to a friend the other day, and I told her that I was in London in September, and she said, no, it was in October. And I said, are you sure? Because so much has happened. So it was just mind-blowing, everything. So it was in October, yes.
Okay, and so the purpose of this video call is to help you communicate to people in Sweden what it's all about, and to introduce me and all that kind of thing as well. And particularly, we're looking to create a live event in February, which you're largely involved in coordinating that as the point in contact in Sweden.
Yes, exactly. And I've had, people come up to me with a lot of questions about this, because it's such a new thing and people have never heard anything like it. And so they are quite curious about you and what this is all about.
Yeah. So one of the things I find amazing is the video, the feedback that you've given about your own experience. So clearly you're so passionate about sharing this, which is largely you're driving this almost more than I am in terms of what's going to be happening in Sweden as a result of the kind of profound changes and experiences that you had.
It has been amazing. I wasn't fully prepared for anything like it, really. I came home a different person at a weekend. It was just a weekend, and I learned so much about myself. And I'm so different today. I left so much garbage in London belonging to me, and it's not just a part of me anymore. It's gone. So I have changed a lot, and yes, I am very passionate about it. I want more women to experience what I am experiencing, to be more free and to be more themselves and not judge themselves as hard as we often do. That is what I want.
Yeah. And so what can be the benefit to the women in Sweden if we share these tools and this approach with them and the movement of 200 Women?
Well, I think the biggest benefit would be allowing yourself to be who you are more fully, not judging yourself, not judging other people, and also connect with other women. That is very special.
Right.
We are so disconnected in the society today. It's more of a competition between women today. You are not connected to a group of women like that. You have to be really close friends. So it's something really, really special.
Okay, you mean in order to be able to share that kind of dialogue?
Not just in order to be, to share like that, just a general, I'm sorry about that.
So my view is the same as yours. We've both had the same vision of what's possible and what the benefits can be. I mean, first of all, the benefits are for women directly. Things like some of the things you've reported are benefits with the health and the body. Benefits with, I mean, you've been talking on the videos about how you love yourself so much more, and you're more showing your true personality and all of, becoming aware of all the gifts that you have to offer and enjoy for yourself. And so that's essentially what we're looking to do for women all around the world. There isn't any reason why we would want to stop short of helping all the women in the world. We won't necessarily need to do that ourselves, because I don't know what other 3 or 4 billion. But we can certainly make as big a contribution to that as we can. And the thing that underpins it all is letting go of judgment. So we're letting go of self-judgment. And of course, I've said this before, any judgment whatsoever is ultimately a self-judgment if you look at it and what it's doing. And so by letting it go, we become lighter in our personality and our emotions. But also we can let that go from the body as well. So there's kind of a twofold thing happening. But if it really leaves, it's really actually one body mind. So it's happening within that.
I'm sorry, I didn't get the last bit there.
Okay, so what's happening is like we're letting things go. Like, so if we might do a typical clearing, we might invite you to let go of any judgments you have around your body image, or around expressing passion, or around expressing a desire to exercise. And if we've taken on these judgments when we were young, when we were children, all that kind of thing, we'll have constricted that part of ourselves, that aspect of personality, and we lock that away and think, oh, we mustn't show that. And then when we clear that, when we come to do exercises like these and we ask, would you like to let go of those judgments? Like, yeah. And then we let them go from the body as well. It's like, oh, that's so much lighter not to have to carry around that kind of baggage. And, you know, the mental, the self-talk at the back of the head, which is, oh, you mustn't do this, you mustn't do that. Just letting that go is such a release.
Yes. And one thing that I learned that I was really fascinated about, and I still am, is how to listen to my body and how much my body is talking to me. That is really the most amazing thing. I can ask questions to my body and I can feel the response, if it is, you know, at ease with what I'm asking or what I'm talking about or not. And just to be able to do that, it's fascinating.
Yes.
And I learned that in London.
The body's very good at, or it's perfect at knowing what's true and what's not true. So sometimes when we doubt ourselves in our heads, that's the point where which our self-judgment is getting in the way of us allowing that knowledge and that wisdom and that intuition in. And so, but the body has that perfect form store of information. It always knows what's going on. So when we let go of those judgments and we can start to trust we realize that we can trust the body, we can make decisions with the body even. And that way of getting out of our heads is like, it's kind of like, the thing came up again that I was explaining, that negative thinking, positive thinking is simply the absence of negative thinking. When we let go of negative thinking, what we actually have is being, and we're totally in the moment. So it's like, it's not a case of, oh, I can't do this versus I can do this. It's a case of, oh, I can't do this versus I'm out there, I'm already doing it. You know, if there's no negative thing, you know, you're not thinking about I can do this. You're gone. It's happening. You're doing whatever you want to do, and it's moved on. And so you realize, and of course, the other thing that we teach in The Power of Love is that there are two different forms of success. So essentially, what 200 Women Changing at the Speed of Love is about is the point at which we move beyond realizing that we realize that we can't really get any fulfillment from trying to get society's definition of success. And it wants me to be, I mean, it wants me 6 foot tall for a start. So that's not happening. You know, must be this, must be that, must have blah, blah, blah. You've got to be this, got to be that. And it's total nonsense, you know, that we do things that we don't want to do, but we'll appease and approve family and society and all of that kind of thing.
Yes.
So we realize that there's two different types of success. So there's judgment-based success or approval-based success, so which is essentially self-judgment-based success. So we're judging ourselves that we must be this, and we get there, and it's, even if we achieve it, it's totally unfulfilling. And then there's the other, which is love-based success or self-love-based success, which comes just from our natural being. It's who we are. It's the passions that we have. It's the skills and characteristics that we want to express and share, all these things, and none of that needs forcing. So it's a total change of point of view from, oh, this, you know, success here is a hard work. I must be this. Oh, this is complicated. How do I make this work? To letting all of that go. And then, well, hey, actually, I'm just me. This works.
Yes. And that is the most amazing feeling.
Yeah.
Allowing myself to be who I am.
Yeah.
And I feel I talk about myself as a woman today because I feel like a woman. I've never done that before, and I'm 43, you know, so I'm just stronger
Mm.
in me, being me,
Yes.
and
And
it's wonderful.
well, and also that strength and that happiness has increased each week since London, hasn't it?
Yes, it has.
And that was
And
only 6 weeks ago.
I know, and it's incredible when I think about it.
So if you think
You
where
know,
can go,
where will I be in 6 months? You
yeah.
know, there's no end to it, and I
Yeah.
don't want it to end. I'm still, you know, in progress.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful.
And
I have
one
to
of
ask.
the,
Yes, please.
well, and one of the key things is whilst we're enjoying becoming more, the way you and I are doing it now is with a realization that where we are in right now in this moment is always perfect. So it's not a case of, oh, I'll be okay when I get here, and we're living in the future and the never, never. And it's like, oh, the future needs to be this because the past was that. It's a case of, no, everything's perfect. You can live in the moment. It might not be the way we would choose it always necessarily, but we don't have to postpone the act or the enjoyment of living. And it's like, oh, well, if I get the house, the car, and me, and then the body, and all this kind of thing, and then I'll be happy. We can see
No,
it.
and that has been a big realization for me.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, I'm single and I've been, you know, not struggling, but it's been in the back of my mind. How do I want my future to be? Okay, so I need to do this and that before I can be involved with someone. And I've put like goals for me before I'm going to be ready to meet someone. And I've just realized that first, I don't have to meet someone. It's not a necessary. I mean, I'm
No.
fine as it is. It's okay. I don't mind if I don't meet someone and if I'm single for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I feel it's such a release. I'm so free. And if I have, you know, someone in my life, why do I have to, you know, okay, I need to lose 5 pounds and I need to do this and I need to do that before I can be the woman who would actually attract someone? And why wouldn't I be that woman today?
Yeah.
But it's not as important as it was before. And I'm not hearing questions about it as I did before. Aren't you going to date? Why are you single? Aren't you ready to date? All of these questions. No one is asking me that. And
Yeah.
it's great.
So we have people that like us the way they are, and they come up and tell us that they like us, and they say, okay, well, hang on a second, give me a year so I can change to be all the things that I think you want me to be, even though you don't want me to be them, but I think that's what you must like in order to like me, and then I'll be ready, quote unquote.
Yeah. No, so that's great. You know, I'm so free. I can do whatever I want, and I don't need a man, you know, I don't need a man to tell me my worth.
No. Great.
Because I am doing that. I can feel it. So, well, that's good.
Yeah. So everything, whether you're single or in a relationship, whether you exercise or not, whether you do this in career or not, everything becomes choice.
Yeah, it does.
And as we say, there's choice is when there's no self-judgment around, genuine choice is possible.
Mm-hmm.
So people have the illusion of choice.
Yes.
That's what we do with the teachings of love consciousness, is to help people realize that actually we can get to a point of experiencing genuine choice when we totally let go of judging ourselves. And it's kind of like a new thing. It's like, oh, well, hang on a second. I've been on the planet for 4 decades. And now all of a sudden I'm realizing what choice feels like, which is the most crazy thing. But that's how it is, because we have a society that runs on judging and meeting up to external standards.
Yes.
And there's occasionally you'll meet people who get that that's not real and can bypass and transcend it. And so that's what we're now doing, actually at a very quick speed, the way we're sharing this with audiences.
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to you coming here and sharing your knowledge with other women. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't see that anyone would walk away from it and not have changed or learned something.
Yeah.
And if we, if we can reach out to women and that can spread, I think that it could be a different world in a few years' time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly the aim. I mean, we start from the point of, you've just been to London, of course, and have enjoyed that, but where you are in Sweden, you don't yet have the community and the culture around you where you can talk to other people just as yet as some of the participants in London have, where they can meet up and such like. So the first thing is we're starting to create that in for you in Sweden. And of course, as you know, I've done a couple of workshops in Sweden before, in Malmo, Helsingborg and Stockholm, which weren't entirely officially exclusively for women, although by the end generally there were women signing up for the events, which is it seems to be more popular with women. So now 200 Women Changing at the Speed of Love is exclusively for women.
Yeah, why is that?
Moving into the, well, let's go through a few things at a time. So moving into the future, one thing that we're going to do is the first 200 Women event in Sweden will be in Skövde.
Yeah, it will.
And we will be looking at maybe an audience of 40 or 50, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
And so, but beyond that, then we are looking to help hundreds of women, and then thousands of women, and then millions of women, and then into the billions. And not just this organization, but hopefully, I'm sure others as well, and I'm sure they already exist. But it's incredibly important, first of all, for you, for your own lives.
It is.
And secondly, it's really impossible for a society, any society, to function in a healthy, prosperous, efficient, happy way unless the women of the population are healthy, happy, valued in choice, knowing their own worth, and very strong. I was hearing from a lady in North America, and she'd been talking with some tribes around the world where the men will go out and hunt and find food, but the women will coordinate that and tell them how much to bring back, and don't bring more than that. And there's a very strong role there. And so whatever the role is with between men and women, it's incredibly important that is a healthy one, and everything's firing on all cylinders. Otherwise, if you have a society like we have at the moment, which is it's got the challenges that it has, it's not going to be set up to deal with those, to create a healthy society, unless everything's equal.
Exactly.
Now, equal doesn't mean the same, but it does mean equal.
Yeah. And I think that this is, what this can do for women. This should be really something similar for men, because I think it's also really needed. I feel like we have lost so much the way the society looks today. We have lost how to be a woman. You look at all these young women, the teenagers today, they are really lost, and they don't know, what am I going to be like as a woman? What is it like to be a woman? And just listen to their voices inside of them, and listen to their own self. It's really, really important. And you have all of these young men also who are really lost, and they don't know what is expected of them as being a man. So I think this is a really good start,
Well, it's the start, and we'll follow it all the way through to wherever it needs to go. And it's actually the same for men as it is for women.
Yeah.
Both need to do the same thing, which is to let go of the self-judgments and be in touch with what's true for ourselves, and go from there, from a place of genuine choice.
Yes.
At the moment, though, this is for women, and it does seem that primarily women are taking very enthusiastically taking this up, because they can see what changes are possible, and they're getting very real benefits very quickly. And so that is, as I can see it, because this is kind of comes out of my intention for the last 10 years and more, has been to evolve consciousness and create a humanity that is healthy. And I'm always looking at ways, how can I do that? Is it, will teaching this help this? Will this project help this? Is it worth me involving my time in ecology, or, you know, am I best served in politics, which is, you know, and the biggest opportunity that, or the biggest possibility I can see to improve the well-being of humanity is this project to support women. I don't see anything else making as big a difference, as a bigger contribution to what's possible, than to have fully strong female energy playing equally its part in society, and women in total choice and without judgment, and hopefully all within safety as well, because that to an extent does require a male culture and society that is willing to respect that as well.
Yes, and allow, I think, allow a woman to be woman.
Yeah. And you know this, you know the truth there. You know, there's some places where it does and some where it doesn't. You know, some men who will and some who don't. And we can't necessarily, we're not looking to control them, but by bringing the strength of, by helping women to be all that they can be, when then we're doing that.
Yes. Well, I think it's beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and your work is really appreciated.
Thank you.
And it's not just by me. And I know there's women all over the world who are really appreciative of the work that you are doing and the knowledge that you are providing for us.
Yeah. Well, it's a pleasure. It's just about the work and the change and helping people.
So where does all your knowledge come from?
Well, it's interesting that you use the word knowledge, because you talk about me coming to Huerto in February and bringing my knowledge.
Yes.
To an extent, I'm bringing my energy. So I'd be happy on the morning of the seminar if I forgot everything I ever knew, but was willing to turn up with the energy and the approach of non-judgment, and just totally willing to be the energy of allowance. And so when you're in London, it's I mean, I do have some knowledge, but it's most of what was creating the magic was creating that space of an allowance and a willingness for people to be able to be who they are beyond judgment.
Yes.
And that's, so one of the things that's important about 200 Women Changing at the Speed of Love is how simple it is, and how simple we can make it to simply use these questions to ask to let go of things, and then to ask the body if it wants to let go of judgments as well. And we just, essentially, it's cleansing the palette of consciousness. So there's nothing, you know, I know this, but I don't need that. Or I know that, or I know this and I don't know that. Is, you know, that is knowledge can be fine, but ultimately deeper than that, you have your own knowing. We talk about knowing not necessarily as a intellectual thing, but it's a deeper, more natural thing, that you know who you are. you know when you're doubting yourself. And when you're doubting something, or you doubt this, or you doubt this intuition, you know that you're doubting it, and therefore you know that you know. And so it's just letting go of the judgments that stop that being honored and acknowledged and allowed. Yeah.
So let's talk about the body a bit.
Okay.
You demonstrated something fascinating.
Yeah. So I mean, we'll put some video. There'll be some videos up, so you can find those on the website as well. So you're talking about, so essentially in London, I didn't plan this actually, but what I happened to find myself doing on the Saturday morning was a demonstration of shifting, letting negative judgments of the mind, letting them go from the body. Is this what you're talking about?
Yes, I am talking about that. Yes. I call it, you know, cell memory is nothing new today. Scientifically, there have been so much proven that we have memories in our cells in the body from things that we have experienced. So for me, that was fascinating to see that live. So can you tell me more about what happened?
Yeah, just to explain to everybody, what happened then was I lay down on the massage tables that we had, and the group or the audience stood around close, so that they could see what was going on. And Hazel video recorded what I was doing and what I was saying. So essentially I was lying down, and at the same time I was giving you a dialogue, an explanation, and also some dialogue where I'm telling you what my own internal dialogue was in my mind, as I am having a conversation with myself that I hadn't planned, and B, also asking it questions. So would it let go of my judgments around money or relationships or my body or have anything like that, happiness or whatever. And so seeing the body's reaction, this is what came across on the camera. And maybe because it's me, it was quite an explosive, or some people were using the word violent or aggressive, the energy with which I was letting go of judgments from my body. It was like kind of shaking or shifting like that, if you like. And you think, well, what the heck's going on? You know,
well, it was like you had a seizure or something, epileptic seizure, because the movement was so strong.
It looks very much like that. And we want to explain it's not that everybody has to, you know, you don't have to do that. That is quite an
no, that's
I do that a lot, and I did quite a powerful level. And so but what it's demonstrating is the relationship between the mind and the body. And as I was saying on that, if I want to let go of a judgment, I don't want to just have an intellectual say, oh, I want to let go of the judgment, and then it go away, but it comes back in the mind the next day and then the day after, and so nothing really changes. I want it to be completely let go of in my head, and then I just want it completely gone from my nervous system, my being, and my energy, and my body, and everything else. And so that's why we do that. So we do a clearing. We ask the body if it would like to let that go as well. If it's because the body carries around these self-judgments in the nervous system from the moment they become self-judgments, whatever point it is that any particular characteristic or interest or passion or personality aspect or choice that we made was repressed or shunned because it wasn't acceptable to the people around us at the time that it happened. It's stored in the nervous system as a constriction until that time. And so we have people who in society don't realize it, but we're all more this, and we're all more that, and we're all more like that than we need to be. And so you won't know because you haven't seen me like as I was 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but I was very kind of down here. And so it's like,
wow.
Each time you ask to let go, you become more straight, more tall, more relaxed, and the muscles, the tension, the tendon, all these kind of things unwind and relax. And you can essentially, we did that other exercise in London where you can ask your body to let go of all judgment, and then feel how your body would feel if you never put mental judgments on it, and you never tried to hold it from your mind, and let your body carry the weight and hold the weight of your body rather than your mind doing it. Because even we walk around it, so it's like, and people having stunned experiences to realize how deep and how relaxed that was, which is our natural state of being.
Well, I've had some body experiences also of releasing negative energy in my body. I don't move like you did when you showed us. I have different movements. Maybe it's, you know, different from person to person, I don't know. But when I have released something, I get this tremendous energy going through my body. And for me, it feels like I'm letting go of negative, and I'm allowing more love to run through my body. And I feel great. I feel younger, and I have energy to do so much more than I had before. And it's great.
Yes,
it's great.
You will feel younger, because what's happening is that energy had been locked down and repressed for those years, and you're actually reclaiming it.
Yeah.
Because it hadn't been accessible to you when it was locked down in the nervous system, in the shadow, pressed down in the subconscious, so it's constricted in the body. So once we release it, then all of a sudden we've got that energy back.
Yes.
And we actually get it back twofold. Because because let's say that shadow creates a shyness in us. Yeah, so we have a repression. We like confident, and all of a sudden, bang! 8 years old, 10 years old, something happens, and we're shy. After that,
yeah.
So not only do we lose the energy of being that made us shy, so all of that energy is like repressed, in addition to that, we also have to spend all the years and since that point pretending not to be confident or pretending not to be the opposite. So we have to defend, and we have to create this false. A lot of that energy actually goes into upholding our expression to the world of these people who we aren't, which is really kind of a strange thing to do, but it's what happens, you know.
But that is so
people
true.
have to pretend, oh, you know, I'm not. Sorry?
Yeah, that is so true.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good explanation. Wow.
I spent 38 years believing that I couldn't dance, knowing that I could, but believing that I couldn't, if that makes sense.
That's horrible.
On an unconscious level. And so all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I'll actually start doing some. And it's like, okay, there it is. I knew it was there all along, but I had to pretend to myself that I couldn't do it. You see? And so so that you lose the energy of the dance or whatever it is, but you also lose the energy that it takes to defend that false point of view. No, I can't dance. No, oh no, I couldn't show joy, or you know, all those kind of things. It takes a hell of a lot out of us to uphold a false expression and to be controlling the way the world sees us all the time. It's exhausting. That's why we want to let it go, or rather, why we offer the choice to let it go, because it's your choice, not mine.
Wow, that was a really good explanation, and it resonates with me. And yes, it takes a lot of energy, not being who you are.
Yeah. And so, of course, that kicks on in all areas of life, like money as well. You know, where have we been taught that money's wrong or evil, or we're not great with money, or we shouldn't be this creative with it? And so all of the possibilities that are available to us, we close those down as well, and we pretend we're not that goodness or that ability as well. So letting go of judgments to create just a pure, just an empty consciousness where we have nothing getting in the way of our choice and intuition and flow is a really wonderful thing.
Yeah. Well, my body is, well, it has a different energy now than it had before. I should say that the first weeks I had, you know, my body was moving a lot, and as soon as I sat down, or as soon as someone spoke about something that I had negative feelings about in me, I could feel that my body wanted to move and release.
Yep.
So I sort of had to put boundaries on my body when it was allowed to move and when it was allowed to do things. It's not appropriate to do that when you are working or when you are perhaps in a public place. So it took some time, but now I can listen more to my body and sort of sneak off a few minutes if I have to and do some clearings. But
okay. I'm not sure how far you want to explain that on this call, because it might be getting a bit unclear.
No, I'm just saying it's different, but I know that I'm cleansing in a very high speed. I know that. But I allow it, and I want it. I want it to be, you know, I want that. So it's different from person to person, I think.
Yeah, and as you know, I've been following and supporting your experiences since the event, because we've been in regular contact with supporting the Sweden aspect. So, yeah, I've from what you've been saying and reporting, clearly your body is letting go of a lot of judgments and all of those tensions and constrictions at a particularly quick rate for you. And I think part of that is because your soul, or your deepest part of you, your heart's desire, is that you really want to let go of these things quickly. You don't really want to be living with them anymore.
No, I don't. I was very ready before I went to London to have a change in my life, and I really wanted it. But I had no idea. First of all, I didn't know anything about what it was that I was attending, really. And I think I was just really open to that anything can happen and anything can change. And I just wanted it. I fully embraced it, and I am still fully embracing it.
Yeah.
And I love it. Absolutely love it.
And so another thing that we did at the London seminar was the work that you did in pairs and threes, where you were healing each other. So we had the massage tables for you in groups of 2 and 3 to take it in turns to give loving touch or healing to each other. And that was also quite profound, because people who'd never done that before were providing service, and people who were receiving that were realizing that they were getting the same quality of healing and experience and the richness of that they would normally expect from a professional, and realize that it wasn't necessarily, you didn't necessarily have to be a professional. It was about the energy and then the intent and the caring is a lot of what happens there. So one of the things we do at the events is create pockets of half an hour of time, or maybe a bit more, to be able to do these kind of things in pairs and threes and have that experience as well.
Yes, that was really interesting. The woman who did that on me, that loving touch on me, I was certain that she was a professional and that she knew exactly what she was doing, and she had never done that before. And she touched me on my body where I had all this tension, and it just released. It was wonderful. And she had never done that before. And I also, when I did it on another woman, I was just trying to listen to the body and where my hands wanted to go and where I could feel a difference in the body. And I learned so much. And just to experience that you can really tune into someone else's energy, and that you can, with the intention of giving love and giving healing, really do that.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing. It is.
Yeah.
And you start to wonder if it's so easy for anyone who has never done anything like that before to heal someone in that profound way. What kind of society are we going to have in a few years' time? What is the medical, the hospitals and everything, what are they going to look like in the future? I continued to have amazing experiences when I came home, and I didn't even realize it in the beginning. And this is absolutely mind-blowing, because my eldest daughter, she's had scoliosis in her back from when she was 12, and there's nothing left today. Her spine is completely straight, and we are going to go to the hospital to have another x-ray done, because I want to compare from when she started having her problems with her back to what happened here during 2 weeks' time. And I didn't even realize I was giving her healing. I was just hugging her, and my hand wanted to go down to her spine, so I let it be there. And she could feel something, some energy happening in her back, and her body moved a little bit. So we let that continue, and I was just hugging her, and I was saying thank you for her healing, and that was it. And she was saying thank you for my healing, because she could feel that something was happening. And I think the reason it happened so quickly for her is because she allowed it, and she could feel that there was something positive. But her back is straight. I can't believe it when I see it, but it's straight. Something that she hasn't had for 7 years.
Awesome. And without knowing what exactly causes what, and what's changeable and what isn't, I mean, I don't want to speak on, there are conditions that people can have which don't necessarily apply to this, but 95% of health for society is come from the 1, 2, 3 of health, which is to listen to the body is the first thing. The second thing is to learn to tell the difference between the needs of the mind and the needs of the body, and realize that if a need for food or for a need for sex or for a need for water is in the mind, then you can't satisfy that with food or sex or whatever it is. It has to be a need of the body. So you learn to tell the difference between these are the needs of the mind and these are the needs of the body. And then third thing is to do whatever you need to do or be or become so that you're honoring the body and what it's asking for, and not allowing the mind and its judgments and its wish to hijack the body for its own entertainment to be constricting and hurting the body. And when you do that, approximately 95, I'm not saying exact statistics, but 95% of the time, that is going to give members of society good health.
Yeah.
And when they don't do that, they get symptoms. When they don't listen to the body whispers, don't do that. And if they ignore that, the body will say, don't do that. And if they ignore that, the body's going to shout, don't do that. And if they keep ignoring it, then you have what they call symptoms. And what we have at the moment is, rather than see a symptom as a cause, as an effect, people are seeing it as a cause and trying to fix the symptom rather than address the cause. It's kind of like if you have rats turn up in New York because there's garbage in the streets, and rather than try and take the rats away, if you take the garbage away, you have no rats.
Yeah.
So if you listen to your body, that's the source. You know, some of the things we're looking for in the degenerative diseases, because 100 years ago people weren't dying of degenerative diseases like cancer or heart disease.
Exactly.
They were dying of infectious diseases like tuberculosis and influenza. Now, as I say, to qualify, that's not to say that, you know, everybody who gets cancer isn't listening to their body. It may be that there are some types that are unavoidable. But for the large part, what are we doing where we're in self-judgment and we're constricting our life force and all those kind of things, and we're in habits that don't make our body comfortable and we don't enjoy, but we keep doing them because there's a little part of our brain that goes, oh no, you like this, it'll be okay. And we keep damaging the body. And then going to science and asking for a cure for that. So we need to understand two different types of disease. Those that are unavoidable and things that literally just happen to us, and those that are actually caused by what we're doing by not honoring our own life forces. And the solution to the latter is to let go of self-judgment, to get out of our heads and into our body. Because as I've said this before, everywhere where we let go of a self-judgment is where, when we were given the self-judgment, we went into our heads. I must not do this. The degree to which we go into our heads is the degree to which we get out of our bodies, and we become disembodied from our own bodies, by which I mean we're not connected to them. We get out of touch with listening to them and how they feel and what we really want to do. And so by letting go of the self-judgment of the mind, then we reverse that. We get back out of the mind and back into the body. So it's an embodiment that happens as a result of that. And being fully conscious embodied, or in touch with, able to respond to what the body wants or needs, is essentially the key to health. Yeah, that was a lot of talking. Okay, and I think Marie's just dropped off the call as well, so she lost her internet connection. So yeah, I'll see if I can pronounce Huerta, I think it is, in Sweden. So we'll be there in February, and thanks to Marie, who's now going to be coordinating 200 Women Changing at the Speed of Love in Sweden. And so we'll hope to see you there. Thanks.